So, the Torah does something very obnoxious, and it tells us a commandment that Ivdu et Hashem b'simcha, that we have to serve Hashem with happiness. Okay, we have to be happy, and to command a person, you better be happy. That's probably the worst thing that you could do to a person who's not happy. If like a person's happy, so great. Then it's just like you're preaching to the choir. But if a person's actually struggling with being happy, and tell them you need to be happy, I'm commanding you to be happy. So it's hard for me to believe that it ever worked. That a person that was depressed and came to his therapist and he said, "Be happy." Oh wow, thank you. Here. Take my $100, and it's hard to believe that such a command is actually going to help a person in any way. If anything, it'll only make it worse. It'll probably give a person guilt that it's bad enough that I'm depressed. But besides my being depressed, I also have to feel bad that it's a mitzvah that I'm neglecting and I'm a bad Jew, and so the topic of Simcha is something which is very appropriate for this time of year, because we're very soon we're going to be welcoming the month of Adar, and it says Mishnichnas Adar Marbe Simcha. This is the month of Simcha. This is the month that we're commanded that we're supposed to increase our Simcha. And so the truth is, I really believe that the Simcha can be divided into two parts. That there is a certain general Simcha, which is what the Torah talks about, and then there's a certain ecstasy. There's a certain extra kind of Simcha that Adar is supposed to bring, and that's a marbim. That's something extra. It's something that Rebbe Nachman also believed in. He says mitzvah gedola liot b'simcha tamid. What's tamid? Tamid means always. That's interesting. Always. Always is a long time, and sometimes life is not happy, and so there's certain times that a person is going to have to really struggle to make this always. But even before the always, let's go with generally. I think that the entire year, our entire life experience is supposed to be generally happy. And then when it comes to Adar, so then they're supposed to be super happy. So I really think that this is two different avodas. This is two different ways of trying to improve ourselves, two different ways of connecting to this mitzvah of Simcha that needs to be analyzed individually. So now the concept of Simcha, the concept of happiness, is something that I think anybody who's thought in it's something that interested every single thinker since the beginning of time. As far as what we have recorded and a philosophy, everyone's talking about this, and everyone Socrates and Plato and Aristotle and this is something that anybody that thinks talks about it and thinks about what is happiness? What is happiness? And I think that in defining it, it's really a very important step in reaching it. If you want to be happy, so we need to understand what it is that we're trying to achieve, what it is that we're trying to personify. So I found a couple of different definitions of what happiness is, and I think that each one they all have a certain common denominator that I think is really different than what I believe is the Torah approach, and something that I want to share with you from Rebbe Nachman. But I really believe that it's really based on Psukim. It's really based on really the Tanakh itself. So I'll start with the definition of Immanuel Kant. He says that happiness is the total satisfaction of one's needs and inclinations. That is happiness. Happiness is when I have everything that I could possibly need. Everything is perfect. Okay, so you wonder why we're all depressed, right? No, interestingly, that Freud had a sort of a similar take on this, and that's why because of his understanding that a person has a natural drive towards fulfilling their physical needs, and they have their conscience, which is holding them back, and the superego, and so because they have the struggle, so he actually believed that a person is naturally going to be a state of unhappiness because he can't fulfill all of his desires, because he can't just do whatever the heck he wants. So he's naturally we're doomed for for being unhappy. And so clearly Freud was defining happiness with this kind of Kantian kind of belief that it's the satisfaction of everything I want. That is happiness. And I think that deep down this is really what we were taught. I think that this is like somehow we were programmed that happiness is when we have everything, when we have when everything is fulfilled, when we have the dream job and the dream home and the dream and the dream personality and the dream and everything is exactly the way it is in my rosiest dreams. That is when I will be happy. And so toxic. So I can't believe I thought that Kant was like a smart guy. Anyway, so now then there's another approach. So that's more the approach of the philosophers. It's like, from what I understand, that all the Greek philosophers have a similar viewpoint on this. That the happiness is it's not really something that we achieve in this world. Happiness is that what's at the end of life. Like that, it's a goal. It's a goal that when we're striving for happiness, the way to strive for happiness, according to Aristotle and Plato and Socrates, is that live a virtuous life. Look for justice, look for goodness, be kind, it sounds like a rabbi saying, you want to be happy? Just be religious, and then you'll be happy. You know why you're not happy? Because you're doing everything wrong. That's why you're not happy. And it's very mamish I know this philosophical approach seems extremely shaming and extremely abusive, and happiness. You know what happiness is? When you can say that, yes, I didn't speak Lashon Hara today. That's happiness. That's okay, if that works for you. So and now Viktor Frankl. So he sort of changed things, but on the other hand, I think that he's also going with a similar definition as these other schools of thought. He said that happiness is the result of finding meaning. That was his thing. So the man searched for meaning. That if a person lives a meaningful life, so if you have meaning in your life, then you'll be happy, right? So basically, he's really going with the same train of thought as Kant. That it's like when you have, but it's instead of when you have the dream home, then you'll be happy. Instead, when you find meaning in your life, then you'll be happy. But according to Frankl also, really that happiness is something that it's a result of doing something right, of checking off all the boxes, and that's how you're going to find happiness, according to Frankl. So, what I really think that according to Torah and according to Rebbe Nachman at least, I'm sure there's a million different approaches within Torah, but I would like to question this common assumption between all of these different thinkers that happiness is a goal, and I think that there's something that also that we're really taught from a young age that the main thing that we're trying to achieve in life is happiness, and maybe it's from our founding fathers that. Life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Maybe it's from that we got this idea that life is all about pursuing happiness, and the truth is that I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure that I agree with this. That I remember a friend of mine was once giving a class about this parents that they're when they're talking about their children, and the children made all these decisions that they're not really proud of and they're not really supportive of, but as long as they're happy. There's this feeling that as long as they're happy, that's what's important. What's important in life? As long as they're happy, that's what's important. And so he was questioning that. He was questioning this mentality that the goal in life is to be happy, and as long as they're happy, then everything's good. And yeah, it's true. My son is a heroin addict, and he's homeless, but at least he's happy. Like, is it really true that as long as he's happy, then it's okay? Is it really, if you're actually going to could be a complete failure in life by every standard, so is it really true that as long as you're happy, then that's okay? And so that got me thinking that maybe happiness is not really the goal. Maybe really happiness is the opposite. Maybe happiness is the prerequisite. Maybe happiness is like the way through which we succeed in life is actually through happiness. Right? So I think that there's another misconception in the definition of happiness that we're dealing with, and hey, shalom. That I think that there's a misunderstanding. There's a misunderstanding about happiness that at least you're happy, right? That I think people think that happiness is an emotion, right? And if what would that mean, an emotion? Like the same way that we have love and we have hate, and so we have happiness we put happiness into the same category. We put happiness into the same area of our existence. And the thing is that emotions, they cannot be permanent. Like one of the defining factors about emotions is that they don't last forever. Like this is like when I teach chasanim, like I tell them that like you need to remember what you appreciate about your fiance, because the fact that you're in love with her, like it's not going to last forever. I tell them like you're going to wake up a year after you're married and say, what have I done? I hate her. And the girls say the same thing, I'm sorry. And because emotions, by definition, emotions fade. And so if you don't have a basis, of why you're involved in something, like the fact that you're in love with it, it can't be something that's constantly going to be a motivation, because emotions and constant will never go together. So if this mitzvah of if the B'as Hashem b'simcha, and Rebbe Nachman says famously that mitzvah gedola liot b'simcha tamid, that it's a constant mitzvah. If it's a constant mitzvah, by definition, it cannot be an emotion. Okay, so if it's not an emotion, it's not a goal, it's not something that's going to come as a result of something else. So what could it actually be? So for this, I want to read with you a piece from Rebbe Nachman, and I think that perhaps from this we can understand that he has a different approach as to what happiness really is. He starts. This is actually the source of this famous line, that mitzvah gedola lios b'simcha tamid. So he says that what does this mitzvah entail? Lehitgaber laharchik ha'atzvut v'hamar shchara b'kol kocho. That you have to be very strong to push away all of your depression with all of your strength. He says that all of the illnesses that a person can get, it's all because that there's something is messed up with his simcha, that there's something that with his simcha that gets a little bit off kilt. And then it now explains Kiyesh Asara meaning the Gina, that there are 10 kinds of melodies. Shehem Bechina Simcha. These 10 kinds of melodies are 10 kinds of Simcha. He brings this from the pasuk in Tehillim by Mizmor Shali Yom HaShabbos. Ve'elu yud min Gina ba'ayin b'toch asara min tfikin. And he says that these 10 melodies are connected to the 10 kinds of tfikin. Tfikin means pulses. There's 10 kinds of pulses. I'm not an expert in pulses. There's in Chinese medicine. There's ways that I know people that have met people that understand this. That they feel your pulse and they know everything about you from your pulse. They know they if there's something wrong at the bottom of your foot, they can feel it in your pulse. It's like there's something that the pulse is connected to everything, and Rebbe Nachman says that there's 10 kinds of tfikin. There's 10 kinds of pulse, and these 10 kinds of pulse are corresponding to the 10 kinds of simcha, and that's why if there's something wrong with your simcha, if your simcha isn't where it's supposed to be, so it's going to show up in your pulse. Okay. So that's the idea. That's the idea that Rebbe Nachman shares over here. Now, what do I see from Rebbe Nachman? That your pulse is simply the way that your blood flows. Okay? Your pulse, if your pulse, the way that your heart flows, it's supposed to be steady. It's supposed to be constant, and it's a very basic sign of life. Like when like the first thing when a person is in a crisis, so like they check your pulse to make sure like it's the like there's a machlekes about halachically, like is the pulse actually the defining factor of what life is, but it's certainly a big one. it's certainly up there in terms of what life is all about. So Rebbe Nachman compares Simcha to a person's pulse. Now, so a person's pulse is not supposed to be crazy, right? If your pulse is doing cartwheels, then there's something wrong, right? So happiness is what creates your pulse. So if happiness is what creates your pulse, so that means that happiness is not an emotion. It's not a result of everything being complete. It's not a result of being righteous. It's simply a basic state of mind. Okay, that's what happiness is supposed to be. Okay, and if something if you're not happy, that means that like something is wrong with your pulse. There's something wrong in your algorithm. There's something wrong with your hard drive. There's something wrong with the way that you're functioning. That's why you're not happy. So really, what Rebbe Nachman is saying, something which is so comforting, and that is that Simcha is not something you have to work on. Simcha is not something like I think that a lot of on Shabbos we're talking about the Nanach guys and somebody was saying that those are the Breslovers. I said it's not really the Breslovers. It's like some kind of like mutation. It's mutated. It's mutated Breslovers, and like I think there's something a little bit off about these people. That they're trying too hard. I was telling my son something about this recently. That Rav Pinkus, Zechron Levracha, so he told his students that he was once walking in Tel Aviv, and he was walking with one of his kids, and they were passing by this group of high school kids. They were laughing extremely loud, and so his kid asked him like, "Abba, how come they're laughing so loud?" And he said, "Because they're so depressed. That's why they're laughing. That's why they're laughing so hard." And like I think there's something to that. That sometimes like when you overcompensate, like when you have to try too hard to be happy, like that means that there's a problem. Like that's not the way it's supposed to be. That's not really what Simcha is. Like Rebbe Nachman says, Simcha is supposed to be just your heart flow. When things are natural, then you're supposed to be Simcha. And I don't think that Rebbe Nachman made this up. There's a pasuk that we say this in Kabbalah Shabbos that or zarua latzadik u'liyishrei lev simcha. That the pasuk promises that there is a light which is planted for the tzaddik, and for the person with a straight heart, there's going to be simcha. Okay, so what is the secret? What is the secret to simcha? The secret to simcha is having a straight heart. Okay, which in Rebbe Nachman's context about having a healthy heartbeat, like that, no cholesterol, no hard issues. Like to have a straight heart, and now there's another pasuk that says, Elokim asa et ha'adam yashar. Vehema bikshu cheshbanas rabim. That the pasuk says in Mishlei that the Hashem created a person to be straight, and mankind, they made all of these. They made lots of problems. They're with all of their desires and all the things that they're trying to look for in life. They actively messed themselves up. Like Hashem made them to be straight, and we make ourselves super crooked. We really go very, very, very off. So the pasuk says that we are naturally straight. We are naturally straight, and we make ourselves crooked. And when a person is straight, then he's happy, and that's why. If you want to know how to be happy, you know how we can learn to be happy. Children are happy. Children are they're they're always giggling. Everything is good. Adults are depressed. You don't have depressed kids. Everything is good, and they fall on their face and they just get back up and they're just laughing and just you give them a kiss and everything's all better. And they're just in a constant state of excitement. They wake up at 4 a.m. and they're just jumping and laughing. And it's like they're full of life, they're full of energy, and they're full of happiness. So what's the secret? What's the secret to the happiness? There's no secret. The secret is that they're healthy. That's the way that Hashem made us. That's the secret. And that we have some kind of we do something to ourselves to mess ourselves up, and we poison ourselves with all the complexities of life and all the stresses that we have, and that's why we're not happy. So Rebbe Nachman says that you want to be happy. So all you need to do is get rid of all the things that are messing you up. Get rid of all of these marshcharas, what he calls, get rid of these depressions and all the different things that are messing with you. And if you're able to get rid of all these things, then you're going to return to a natural state of happiness. Because happiness is not something that you need to work on. It's not something that you need to push for. Happiness is something natural. And just the only thing you have to make sure is how to revert to return to that original state. So the more that we can emulate children, so the more we're going to be happy. So what is that? What are these complexities? What are these complexities that we teach ourselves, that we poison ourselves, that cause us to be so depressed? So I think that the biggest thing that we confuse ourselves with is different kinds of comparisons. And meaning that the natural state that we're looking for, natural state that's going to naturally bring forth happiness without working, is inner peace. Okay? Really what we're looking for is inner peace. And this is inner peace, that's the flow, that is the alignment that Rebbe Nachman is talking about, that our blood is, we have our pulse is working normally. And once we are aligned, so then we're going to come to happiness. So the thing that makes us not aligned is, by definition, different kinds of comparisons. So what's the comparisons? There's two kinds of comparisons. One comparison is that comparisons with other people. Okay, comparisons that I wish my life could be like his. I wish that he has this kind of, he's in this state of life, he's in this relationship, he has this job, he has this talent, he has this intelligence, he has this whatever it is. I look at other people, I wish I could be that, and I can't make peace with myself, I can't accept myself, I can't love myself. And then I don't know which is even worse. They're both terrible. Are comparisons to what I would like from myself. I mean, even if there's nobody else, just like I'm my worst enemy. That I tell myself, or my mother told me, or my father told me, or my teacher told me, or my Rebbe told me that this is what you're supposed to be, and I'm constantly beating myself up because I'm not that, and so I feel this gap between what I am and what I should be. For whatever that came from, for whoever told me that this is what I'm supposed to be. So because I feel this guilt, I feel this failure, I feel this shame. So that is what's holding me back from being aligned with myself. So I feel this lack of alignment. I feel this dissonance between what I would like for myself and what I am, and that's what holds me back from this yashrus, from this being straight, from this being aligned. So what would be the opposite of comparisons? The opposite of comparison is acceptance. Acceptance is that when I'm simply accepting the fact that life is good, that life is exactly the way it's supposed to be, that I don't have to get there. I am exactly where I'm supposed to be, and things weren't supposed to be a different way. And this can also be a religious practice. This can also be a religious exercise of telling myself that Hashem doesn't make mistakes, that Hashem is the one who gave me this situation, and Hashem gave me exactly what happens to me, and there's no, I need to be doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. I need to be living the life that I'm living, and it's also just just acceptance of the fact that I'm human, the fact that we make mistakes, the fact that we're not perfect, and that like it's okay to be me, it's okay to be human, and like it's hard to embrace that, like
relinquishing the control.
Yeah, mamash, like to know like that to let go of the life that I didn't live, to let go of that dream of the life that I it's okay, like I'm really okay. I'm trying. We're all trying, and it's really okay to be trying. It's okay not to be the perfect, and so when I let go of comparisons, so this is really the biggest thing that helps me be aligned. This is the biggest thing that helps me reach this inner peace. So really acceptance is the greatest tool when it comes to achieving inner peace, which is the basic thing for just this circulation, which is the thing that's going to bring us happiness. And so that's why when you have, if a person comes to you and says like, not happy, what do I do? So I'll tell you some things that you should not tell them. Don't tell them, it could be worse. Okay? Think about the people who are starving in Africa, and that because when you say it could be worse, so then you're really egging on their mentality of comparisons. You're really feeding on the whole reason why they're not happy is because they're comparing, and when you're saying it could be worse, then you're comparing, and like to say, yeah, you're right, it could be worse, but it could be better. Sorry, like you're a little bit blind. I don't appreciate that. You're being tricky, and so don't say it could be. Don't say it could be better, and don't say think positive. Don't tell them be grateful. Some people like I've talked about this before. Like a person's come and they're sad about the fact that they lost their job, and you say, you know what? Imagine if you were a cripple, and not only were you a cripple, but you were blind and deaf. Look at you! How dare you! How dare you be depressed? Look at you. Think about that not only are you not crippled, not only are you not blind, you're not even deaf, and you're not even homeless, and you have the audacity to be sad. So there's something very messed up about because that's being grateful. Just be grateful to a person is ignoring the fact that that the reason why he's sad is because he would like things to be a different way, and you're not changing that. It doesn't. Not only are you not changing the fact that he lost his job, but you're making him feel even worse because now he's guilty for the fact that he's not only a loser that lost a job, he's also an ungrateful loser. So telling him to be grateful and to focus on the positive is really not the best advice. So what is the proper approach? What is the way that we're going to achieve this inner peace? So the way to achieve inner peace is with acceptance, is to remember that we are exactly where we are, and to understand that all of the different things, the different things that bother us, the things that take away from our ability to be b'simcha, are all because of this lack of equilibrium, because the lack of alignment, that to be accepting of where we are. And so if you think about it, there's different, we have different reactions. Like when I'm talking about I'm not happy, so there's different ways to not be happy, right? One, I would divide them into three different states. One is that they're all bad. I don't want to give them an order, but just logically to me, I'll do a sequence. That the first one is a person who's aggravated, okay? A person who's always snapping at people. A person who is there's always angry. Okay, that's a person who's always angry is not happy. Okay, a person he's always complaining, he's always critiquing, he's always snapping at people. There's a very, very short fuse constantly. So that's one kind of person who's not who's not happy. There's another kind of person that they're not snappy, but they're bitter. A bitter person. Okay? A bitter person is like a person who's snappy is aggressive. A person who's bitter is passive aggressive. Okay, like anything good you say to them, they have a certain sad smile that they they try to whenever you're happy, they just make you a little bit less happy, you know. When a person is aggressive with you, he doesn't make you less happy. He just he makes you whoa, it makes you want to get away from him. But a person who's bitter, it's actually much more contagious than a person who's aggressive. When you're aggressive, it doesn't make me want to be aggressive. But when a person's bitter, it just makes everybody a little bit less happy. And so that's being bitter is another expression of not being happy. And the third in descending order is a person who's depressed. He's not even bitter. He's just not there. The person who's depressed is just not present. He's disassociated, and they're just given up. It's the most dangerous. It's the most dangerous state to be in a state of depression. So how are these different states? How are these reactions to this lack of inner peace? Of reactions to the different alignment? So a person feels this frustration because their life isn't the way they would like it to be. So the aggression is what in psychology they call fight, right? Fight or flight. The person is that there's this tension from the fact that I'm lacking this inner peace. So because of the tension, I'm feeling the tension. I'm existing in that state I'm feeling this dissonance of where I want to be. I'm constantly acutely aware of the fact that my life is very far from where I would like it to be. And so everything, your existence makes me want to kill you. I don't need an excuse because I'm living with this constant hell of this tension, and so that's the first response. And the bitterness is like a person who's he's not really depressed. He's a person who talks about his depression, a person who's developed a certain philosophy of life that life is actually not supposed to be happy. That's what a person who's bitter. That this is a certain. He realized that I can't just explode constantly. So he develops a philosophy to deal with the fact that everything is upside down, and his philosophy is life sucks. I've developed this is what I believe in. This is my core belief that life sucks, and that's why I'm bitter, and the guy who's depressed is even worse than that. The guy who's depressed, so it's not a person can say life sucks, but whatever. We can enjoy the Doritos despite the fact that life sucks. You know, and a person who's depressed, so he's just completely given up. He can't even appreciate the Doritos anymore. You know, he's not getting out of bed because nothing has any meaning anymore. Okay, and this is these are all responses to this lack of inner peace. So once a person is going to find inner peace, with this radical acceptance, so that actually solves the problem. It actually that he's not going to be aggressive. So if a person is going to try to solve his aggressiveness by just breathing exercises, right? That's a good way. If you know that every time you see a human being, you want to kill them, so just take a deep breath. It's a lot of breathing. I'm all for breathing, but you're gonna have to. It's not really going to solve the problem, right? A person is going to try to how can I try to become an unbitter person? I'll just smile. You're not solving the problem. Really, it's just a band-aid. You're just dealing with the symptom. Really, the reason why you're bitter is because you've stopped believing that life is awesome. And the only reason why you stop believing life is awesome. And kids, when you were a kid, you believed that life was awesome when you were a kid. So why did you stop believing? Because you started comparing yourself, because you started making this ridiculous picture for yourself of the way your life is supposed to be. And that's what makes you so bitter. That's what makes you so depressed. And so just like, forget about it. Just realize that like life is good. Like life is actually good. You're good. You're enough. Your life, like there is something awesome in every single moment. And so a practical takeaway. How can we reach this regular state? Now, once again, this is not the Simcha of Purim. This is not the Simcha on Purim. We're all going to be on the minivans. We're going to be crazy. We're going to that's next week. That's the tenders. This is next week. We're going to talk about Marbe b'simcha. Next week we're going to talk about the craziness of simcha and like that, and the tummy that this is like the state of mind. Just like this is like the way. This is the entrance ticket to life. The only way to succeed in life is with the halichos damim, with just the circulation. Just like your heart, it has a natural pulse, and that's the only way to get it. So how can we? How a person is not feeling it. A person is feeling this. A person is feeling this lack of this dissonance, this lack of alignment. So, what are some practical things that we can do? So sometimes it's as easy as music. Like sometimes like listening to music, to calming music, to happy music. Sometimes like that listening to music can actually just mess with our system in a good way, like to just realign us and just remind us that like there's something very interesting. Like Rebbe Nachman talks about happiness as being a pulse. What's special about our heart is that it's a beat. Our life has a tempo. Life has a certain natural rhythm that we're living by. And so if a person's like, there's nothing more annoying when something messes with the rhythm. If you notice, there was somebody tapping, like very, very off, and it's the most annoying thing when somebody is like messing with the rhythm. It's like it's worse than singing off key. Singing off key is also bad, but to mess with the rhythm is the most annoying thing. So when my natural rhythm is one way, and I'm being like forced into something else, and I'm going to be constantly feeling this lack of alignment. So sometimes like music is like that I feel aligned with that rhythm, so that's actually just going to heal me. It's going to align me. Now, sometimes talking to Hashem, just having something meditation, having hitbodedut is going to just realign me, just help me get in touch with to get rid of these fantasies, of these imaginary things that were never meant to be, and I think that For me, this is the strongest. For me, the most powerful tool when I'm just not feeling it is a good friend. Like I really think that like a good friend is somebody that like when you see him, so just like all of your problems, they just disappear. They just like they stop existing, and it's just like everything's okay. It's not, he doesn't tell you anything. He doesn't like teach you anything. It's just when you're with him, so then everything is okay. And I really think that this is like these people that give us backing, these people that give us support, these people that it's something to know that we have people to care about us. That's one thing. But like with a real friend is somebody that just being around them just reminds you that you're enough. You're okay. Life is good. You don't have to drive yourself crazy with all these crazy expectations. That like it's really okay. And so I bless us all that we should be able to find these friends, to use them, to utilize the fact that we have these friends, and to make sure that we're really aligned with ourselves, to be able to remind ourselves that we are enough, to align ourselves that life is actually good, and this simple alignment, this inner peace. So this is ultimately what's going to bring us to true simcha, to the simcha which is allowing us to succeed in life. It's the simcha which is not the goal, but it's actually the entrance ticket to real success. B'ezrat Hashem.